Hey everybody, I'm Avery Travis, a fan of South Plains politics. Here's your talking points for this week. The president makes a trip to the Lone Star State, but not everybody is happy to see him. And the Texas Tech Health Sciences Center changes the way they are evaluating race and admissions.
From the studios of KMAC Television in Lubbock, your local election headquarters. This is Talking Points with Bryan Mudd, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Services.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Also this week, crews are starting to tear down the Coliseum. The ABC Pro Rodeo had barely trotted off the dirt after their last performance when that construction began. So what happens now? Where's the rodeo's future home? KMAC's Nicolette Perdomo has some of those answers for us.
Demolition crews moving in to begin tearing down the Coliseum.
The ABC Rodeo was having its final performance after 77 years in the Coliseum, and that the Coliseum would be coming down starting this week. Demolition crews started moving in, taking out seats, doing things of that nature.
The rodeo will not have a designated home next year, so the plans for the new Expo Center are being established to take its place, with a memorandum of understanding that focuses on planning, design, and financing.
Our goal would be to have the ABC Rodeo a home in the new Lubbock County Expo Center in April of 2021. So that gives us 2 years.
At the end of the 90-day period, we would come back with ownership documentation and a development and management agreement that the county would have to approve and vote on.
It'll be funded through a combination of the hotel occupancy tax and short-term car rental tax, along with private funding.
If the whole all project is $45 million and the county is $35 million, then we're going to need to raise $10 million in the private sector in order for this to all be done at the same time.
Nicolette Perdomo, KMAC News.
And here to talk about it all with me is Bill McKay, County Commissioner for Precinct 1. Thanks for joining us today.
You bet. Well, thanks for having me.
So obviously a wonderful weekend wrapping up the rodeo's last time under the dome, but a lot of people asking that question, what's next? The Expo Center seems to have the ball rolling, but if you can tell us a little bit more about that memorandum of understanding.
Well, I mean, perfect timing, and we're so excited. In court, we authorized the judge to sign a MOU with the Lubbock County Expo Center, Inc. So we have in place an agreement for these folks to develop the planning and all of the development things, working with Garfield, who has worked with the Buddy Holly Center to help in really getting this thing up and running, building the framework, if you will, on paper. They've got an incredible amount of support. They had, obviously, for the election, and they've continued to have that, and it's built up. And so it just took a while from the vote in November. I mean, I'm impatient. We're all impatient. We wanted to see a groundbreaking, just any minute. And it takes time. It's a huge event, and it's a huge thing for Lubbock County. And so they and Lubbock County, we've worked very carefully and very hard to get everything in place so that it's all legal, everything's correct, and it's the way it's supposed to be, and so that they're moving forward with the plans and development, and they'll be coming back to us over the next 3 months with these plans, and as they get closer, as we move closer to that. So timing is probably perfect.
Are they working out the budget as well? I know obviously going to be funded through that hotel motel tax, the short-term rental tax, but they also said it will be kind of filling in the gaps with private funding as well. Do they have any sort of, big budget number that we could slap up on the wall quite yet?
Yeah, I think that's a little early to talk about that. I mean, visiting with these folks, they're confident that they're going to have enough money coming in, enough revenue coming in, and then what they're already hearing about folks wanting to contribute, they're excited about the kind of response they're getting, and naming rights could be anywhere from $8 to $10 million. They've got $10 million that some folks have committed, and so that's above and beyond what they'll get on the hotel tax and automobile rental tax. So I think it's moving slower than we all would have wanted it to, and there's not as much information as we would all like to have and out to the public, but these guys are working hard, and we're excited to work with them, and I think these guys are going to do great.
Well, something that's not moving slower, something that's coming up on us pretty fast, a bond election right around the corner.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that as we get closer to that date?
Well, early voting is April 22nd, and it's huge for Lubbock County. We hired an engineer just over a year ago, And from that, an engineering firm analyzed all of the county roads, all of the county infrastructure, and how it relates to city streets and the growth. And with the explosion of the growth, there's no way we can keep up with it. I mean, Lubbock County, we get $10 every time you register your car or your vehicle. And that's really just for maintenance. I mean, that's kind of how the state has us set up, is to maintain dirt and cliche roads and patch a few potholes. So any kind of substantial improvement, this is the only way to get there. And so by looking at the entire county, not just the southwest part, it's not southwest Lubbock County, it is Lubbock County. And so we know Woodrow Road, there are a number of roads in and around Lubbock Cooper that need to be addressed. The roads around the Friendship in the western part of the county, in Shallowater, in Idlew, in Slayton. You know, there are a number of roads that are not as safe as they could be. And so what this bond will do will get these roads safer. The goal was to keep the tax rate the same. Our current tax rate for the debt on the bond for the detention center is just under 4 cents. And had we done nothing at all, that bond would have been paid off in 7 years. But by maintaining the dollar amount that we have and when we're going to allocate these bonds, we're going to be able to maintain that same tax rate. That's not to say your taxes won't increase. If your home appreciates in value, you know, you can still go up. We lowered the tax rate last year and your home could have gone up. What we're doing is going to keep that tax rate the same. And so that over the next period of years, we're only going to draw down dollars that we can use to actually get projects done. So the bulk of the money this year, if it passes, will be for engineering and design. I mean, we all know that Woodrow Road needs to be wider. What does it need to be, 4 lane, 5 lane? You know, how are we going to address the intersections and drainage and flooding? So that's why they need to be engineered and designed so that it's a safe road, not just a wider road. Well, many of these roads that we're looking at are also on the MPO list. And so there's potential for $40, $50 million of state and federal money to help us address some of these roads.
There has been, you know, maybe some complaints in the past, some concerns that this was done hastily. Do you have anything to say to those people who were bringing up that concern?
Well, yeah, the study began over a year ago to look at these roads. And so, I mean, do we kick the can down the road on public safety? I mean, could we wait till November? But, I mean, we're talking lives. It's not like it's something, hey, that'd be fun, that'd be cool. No, I mean, we're talking about public safety. We're talking about people's lives. And so it's critical that we move as quickly as we can. And so hopefully the voters will see and understand that this is the quickest and best way to get these roads fixed.
While we're talking numbers, while we're talking budgets, an article was published in a local publication making claims that Lubbock County is going broke. Virtually, they were claiming that an outside auditor reported that the unrestricted reserves are shrinking. You've obviously read this article, you're familiar with it. What can you say to people who also read that article and may have had concerns?
Well, if you go to Commissioner's Court archives from our court meetings on our website, and I believe it's March 25th, the outside auditor presented our certified audit of last year's budget. And in that presentation, he spoke about how good he felt about our budget and that we're very reasonable and prudent. We've got sufficient fund balance to address our needs. You know, some of the folks get confused. It's a governmental accounting and how we assign and unassigned funds. It's a little more complicated, but we're in great shape financially. We've got adequate reserve. We target for 25%. We're not mandated to have 25%. We would like to get there. And currently we are at 24.68%. And so we're pretty close to that. And so, in terms of budgeting, and we work hard to maintain as much as we need, but not too much. And so it's a balancing act that we'll address again this summer when we work on the budget.
Lots going on at the county.
Absolutely.
So I know you guys
are great time.
Yeah, you guys are busy and lots to look out for ahead of that May 4th road bond. So Commissioner Bill McKay, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, that brings us straight to this week's poll question. Do you plan on voting in favor of the road bond in the upcoming election? Yes or no? Talk to us on our KMAC Facebook page and on everythinglubbock.com. Just click on Talking Points and give us your opinion. Well, as state lawmakers try to change how they fund public schools, where do charter schools fit into the mix? We'll have a closer look at several possibilities coming up next.